Three.
Hi, I'm Richard Hill, Associate Vice President for Industry Technology at the Mortgage Bankers Association. We're here today to talk about the MISMO Software Certification Program, which is a new program that's been underway and under development at MISMO for the last year. With me are two individuals, Matt Sue, owner and partner at Actualize Consulting, and Jan Davis, Vice President of MISMO. So Matt, what is software compliance?
Well, in a general sense, compliance is, am I adhering to a standard that's been put forth in the industry? And for software specifically, it's, am I able to create and produce things to that standard? And so as we're looking at it in relation to MISMO, it's very clearly, am I in compliance with how I treat all of the intellectual property, as well as be able to create MISMO-oriented information?
So Jan, can you tell us a little bit about the program and how it'll work?
Absolutely. MISMO is in the process of rolling out a brand new program, as you mentioned, the MISMO Software Compliance Certification Program. The program will have two levels of certification available. The first level is the standard level, which is really kind of foundational. It mainly focuses on kind of a set of self-assertions or from a vendor around their particular product and its use of MISMO, and it's supported by references from their integration partners. The second level of the program is the premier level of the program, and that program builds on that foundational level to where it also requires a third-party review, on-site review by an independent third-party reviewer. It also has an educational component, but the purpose of the program is really to provide an opportunity to go in and do a review of a vendor's use of MISMO, verify that they really are using best practices and the MISMO standards as part of development of their product.
So we've got two levels, a standard and a premier. If I'm a vendor out there, so Matt, maybe you can answer this. If
Sure.
I'm a vendor, what's the benefit to me of these sort of designations?
Well, I think in general, I mean, most software companies are trying to differentiate themselves. And so whether it's the product itself or customer service, in this case, they have the ability to tell the market, look, I'm able to create this complicated MISMO information in a way that's been given a seal of approval. And so for the vendors, they're going to be engaged in all kinds of bidding for their products. And just quite frankly, I mean, one of the things that we do in our company is help our clients figure out which software companies should they pick from. And I can tell you that going forward, one of my criteria that I'm going to recommend to all of the lenders is to take a look and see whether or not they have one of these service marks. And I think eventually it'll be a big differentiator, just like customer service, price, or product.
Excellent. So Jan, as Matt started to imply, from a lender's perspective, why is this program going to be important to them?
So it's important for the lenders in that it also gives them insurance that their potential vendor partners, the tools they might be investigating, actually use or applied appropriate MISMO best practices, applied the MISMO standards in the way that they expected. Lenders can actually use the MISMO mark or MISMO certification just in the way that Matt was talking about as part of their RFP, RFI process while they're going through and evaluating vendors.
Right.
Actually, it could also, from a lender's perspective, it also could help them with streamlined regulatory compliance.
Yeah, and I think that's key because, like, I mean, and we have lots of the regulators are becoming very active with MISMO, the organization, and quite frankly, I mean, when you look at what's going on now, it's all about transparency. It's about being able to show an audit trail, being able to validate that you've complied with these complex rules and regulations, and to the point where you have a software package or multiple software packages that you can say are compliant with MISMO and therefore are capable of producing outputs, be it reports or files that are required by the regulators, the GSEs, Ginnie Mae. It just adds to to the real value proposition that you get for having this mark.
Well, Matt, you and Actualized Consulting were just recently, you all are the first folks approved as authorized assessors or third-party
Right.
reviewers through the program. You've actually had to go through an extensive process to be authorized, to be an authorized assessor. You're going to be going in and doing these reviews. Can you tell folks a little bit about what that might be like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not going to be like a traditional auditor. I mean, we're really trying to make sure that a handful of things are in place. Number one, we want to make sure that you really understand what it means to manage your software development around the MISMO intellectual property, so the data or the data dictionary, the schema, etc. But also that you've got in place a true educational component. So are you attending courses? Are you volunteering on work groups? Do you have a train-the-trainer model? How do you make sure that your people really understand MISMO? And then lastly, I mean, we are going to ask folks to show us proof. So we'll, ahead of time, decide on one or more than one use case that we'll take a look at and say, okay, so your software is going to produce this MISMO output, or it's going to transfer MISMO information or receive it in. Let's look at what should the test look like, what are the expected results, did it pass? And, you know, we hope everybody passes, but if they don't, I mean, we're certainly going to want to cooperate. The intent of this program is not to fail people, it's to help people get to where they can get their marks. And so if there's some issues, we'll put a remediation plan in place, work with Jan and her team to make sure it's okay, and then when they do clear up the little glitches here and there, they'll get their mark. And you know, I think if we continue to do that and companies come forward and get their marks, there'll be almost a snowball effect where if you look into the future, I would certainly think that that these marks are going to be prevalent on the major software vendors' websites, and that they'll be marketing them for their own benefit, quite frankly. So.
Great. Matt, Jan, thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing your knowledge of the program. For more information on the program, go to www.mismo.org. Thank you very much.